Humanity is becoming increasingly vulnerable to growing cataclysms. Illusions that any continent will escape the clutches of the climate Cerberus are dissipating more and more with each passing day. Despite the fact that spring has just begun in the southern hemisphere, Australia has already experienced an unseasonal heat wave. In the southern states, thermometer readings were 18 degrees above average. The Sydney Weather Station marked September 19, 2023, as the hottest day ever recorded for this month, reaching 34.6 degrees Celsius. The abnormal heat was accompanied by wildfires. In Queensland, they numbered in the dozens. And while temperature anomalies may no longer surprise anyone, the number of destructive and rare tornadoes leaves no doubt that the climate is becoming more and more unpredictable. For a tornado to form, a multitude of conditions must be present. But, unfortunately, this has not prevented the expansion of the geography of this dangerous phenomenon. Earlier they formed mainly in the US, but now we increasingly see them on the Eurasian continent. And this trend is growing. This week alone, tornadoes showed their destructive power in different parts of the continent. On September 19th, 2 rare tornadoes struck within just a few hours, claiming the lives of 10 people and causing serious injuries to several others. Both tornadoes struck cities in eastern Jiangsu province. More than 600 houses and nearly 200 hectares of crops were damaged. Tornadoes are rare in China, but in recent years they have increasingly become a cause of people's death. On September 21st, in the town of Nussbaum in Germany, a sudden tornado severely damaged more than a dozen buildings and knocked down many trees.
In some cases, up to 40 fallen trees were lying on county roads that we had to clear. Some houses were in danger of collapse.
I was so scared. I was trembling. I didn't know if everything was all right with my children. They were in shock too. Everything around was spinning, and it was all a bit of a blur.
On September 22nd, a tornado also struck Italy, near Milan, in the area between Rho and Pregnana, leaving behind destroyed house roofs, fallen trees, damaged cars and enormous damage worth hundreds of thousands of euros. A few days earlier, a rare tornado shocked with its power the residents in Saint-Pierre-de-Land and Ernie in the Mayenne department of France.
The house began to tremble, as if during an earthquake, and we saw the chandelier swaying. My wife was very, very scared. She got down on her knees and said, "It's all over. The house is going to fall on our heads." We could hear the tiles moving, and then it stopped. It lasted for about a dozen seconds.
At night we woke up from a loud sound. It really scared us. It turned out to be this metal structure. The strong wind brought it. It must have flown about 15 or 20 meters.
There was a tornado at night, leaving a lot of damage. Everything is damaged here. The gutter is completely ripped off, and the roof is broken. Shutters are completely destroyed. I have damaged the bottom of the facade, and there are breakages everywhere.
In addition to tornadoes, France suffered from floods as well. On September 16th, heavy rains flooded the south of the country. The red danger level was introduced in the Hérault department. Some areas received 500 millimeters of precipitation, which is 5 times the monthly norm. This led to 2 rivers overflowing their banks. Some houses were flooded and cars were washed away by the current.
Suddenly, a storm broke out and all the water rose. Fortunately, we have wonderful people who came to help us. Look at the water level, how high it has risen. I just sold my house and haven't had time to move the furniture out of it yet, so you can see what it's become.
On September 18th, more than a month's precipitation norm fell in northern Iran in just 12 hours. According to the head of the Crisis Management Department of Gilan province, this was the heaviest rain in this area in the past 100 years. As a result of the flooding, buildings, bridges, and power line poles were destroyed. Let's take a look at other climate events that the residents of the planet had to face from September 16th to September 22nd. Hurricane Lee in the Atlantic, which hit New England in the USA and the coastal regions of Canada, left over 130,000 people without electricity. At the same time, heavy rains flooded some parts of Madhya Pradesh in India. And powerful waves formed on the coast of Cape Town, the capital of the Republic of South Africa. Many streets and houses were underwater, and several cars were swept into the ocean. And this is footage of flash flooding in downtown Charleston, South Carolina, USA. On September 17th, severe hailstorms hit the provinces of Valencia and Albacete in Spain. The agricultural sector of Valencia received a hard hit, with more than 22,000 hectares of crops damaged. According to initial estimates, the loss amounted to more than €43 million. On the same day, large hail fell in several areas in southern Uruguay. And the following day, strong storms with hail, following a 40-degree heat, began in the state of Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil. Climate chaos also reached Saudi Arabia. Various regions of the country were hit by storms, large hail and downpours causing floods. Winter has suddenly begun in Sweden. In Kiruna, snowdrifts reached 38 centimeters. This is the highest snow cover recorded in this city in September throughout its history of observations. And now, take a look at how much happened in just one day, September 22nd. In Colombia, an emergency situation arose due to an uncontrolled forest fire. The fire broke out on the outskirts of the city of Cali and came close to houses. In the Philippines, the Taal volcano became active. It emitted large amounts of volcanic gases and ash, leading to air pollution in 26 cities in the province of Batangas. Powerful floods inundated some regions of the province of North Kalimantan in Indonesia, Phuket in Thailand, the district of Accra in Ghana, as well as the capital of Uganda, Kampala. In India, heavy rains began in Nagpur, Maharashtra, at midnight on September 22nd, which the next day became the cause of an emergency and evacuation of the city residents due to extensive flooding. As we can see, climate problems on the planet are gaining momentum. People who have lost everything are forced to embark on risky journeys in search of rescue. But what, as a rule, awaits them as a result of this journey? To understand this, we invite you to look at the events currently unfolding on the island of Lampedusa. It is a tiny Italian island in the Mediterranean Sea, which has been struggling with an influx of illegal migrants for the past several years. Since the beginning of 2023, more than 120,000 people have already arrived on the island, with 31,000 in just the past 2 months. The island's infrastructure is unable to accommodate such a large number of people, as the immigration center can only house 400 individuals. Additionally, big problems with food and drinking water have immediately arisen. Hungry people began to vandalize the overloaded migration center. As a result, the authorities declared a state of emergency. And how is the issue being resolved overall? Well, it isn't. The influx of hungry refugees has become a nightmare for Europe. The head of the European Commission, after visiting Lampedusa, announced that the European Union intends to strengthen patrols in the Mediterranean Sea and take tough measures against illegal migration of refugees. Thus, instead of uniting and solving the problem together, states, unfortunately, continue to build walls between each other. In the end, the question arises: is the tragedy on Lampedusa our rehearsal before the big performance of the climate Cerberus, or a humanity test for people? Let everyone find their own answer to this question.